Carrying out a business experiment with your prototype is how to validate your hunches on the desirability, feasibility, and viability of your proposed solution. Experiments are how you test particular aspects of your proposed business model, like your customer segments, value proposition, pricing, channels, how to get customers and how to keep them, as well as key partnerships. A business experiment is an easily replicable test of a business case that generates meaningful learning and measurable outcomes. Experiments or tests produce evidence which reduces the inherent uncertainty and risk associated with innovation. The best experiments are simple, fast, cheap, smart, and lean. They are testing something really important, ideally measuring a single metric, what Alistair Crowell, author of Lean Analytics, calls the one metric that matters. Experimentation also fosters innovation. Jeff Bezos says that if you increase the number of experiments you try from 100 to 1,000, you dramatically increase the number of innovations you produce. And Jeff should know, because Amazon, probably the most creative company in the world, carry out hundreds of thousands of experiments every year. Some are big trials, like Amazon Go, the first ever checkout-free grocery store, or Amazon Prime Air, the drone delivery service, while others are just testing tweaks on, say, product photos, product descriptions, and call to action buttons on their retail website. So how can you test your prototype? What types of tests or experiments are available to the innovator? The most basic experiments are validation interviews with customers using your prototype. The results here are qualitative in nature and useful to some extent. They are not conclusive. Concierge and Wizard of Oz tests, as well as A/B tests, ad tracking, SEO, and URL tracking are better options to track user actions. Handcrafting your customer's core experience, one by one, concierge style, is a useful way to generate ideas about what customers want. The founders of Airbnb learned what delighted their customers using concierge testing. Joe Gebbia and Brian Chesky famously called on their very early customers, a handful of New York hosts, ostensibly to take photos to upload to their website, but in reality, they were in learning and adapting mode, in search of the sweet spot that would allow their business to scale. A basic Wizard of Oz test uses rudimentary prototypes made of everyday objects and role play to track how users interact with the proposed idea. Check out how IDEO used an insanely basic Wizard of Oz to test user interaction with Elmo's Monster Maker, an app game for kids. The difference between Concierge and Wizard of Oz is that the user knows about the Concierge, while the Wizard of Oz is hidden from the user. Also, Concierge is useful for generating ideas, whereas Wizard of Oz tests a specific solution. Uber, Lyft, Grab, Google, and many others are running a kind of combination of these tests with driverless car journeys, but with a person on hand to control the car in the event of emergency. A/B or split tests are a way to compare two versions of a single variable, typically by testing a subject's response to variable A against variable B and determining which of the two variables is more effective. HubSpot, the inbound marketing and sales platform provider, wanted to test different sign-up options on their blogs for their free ebook, The Beginner's Guide to Inbound Marketing. On one variation, the form was embedded in the post, an in-link call to action, and the other was just a link to a landing page with the form. The in-link performs 71% better. Simple, measurable, actionable A/B testing. Ad tracking and SEO is a low-cost way to explore your potential customers' jobs, pains, gains, and interest or lack thereof for your value proposition. You can measure elements such as acquisition, activation, retention, revenue, and referrals using a wide range of metrics like traffic and click-throughs, sign-ups, engagement, sales, and invites. In 2012, Barclays test marketed their mobile app Ping It, a mobile payment service that lets users transfer money using only their mobile phone numbers. Soon after the early release, there was a surprising number of negative mentions on social media about the product. Upon further analysis, the main issue was that the app was only available for people aged 18 and above. Not only did teens feel left out, many parents were also unhappy as they were unable to use the service to send money to their kids. Barclays quickly acted on this and made the service available for users aged 16 and above. A great lesson in ad tracking and social media listening. There are many options that help to track actual sales. Pre-sales commitments can be captured through expressions of interest, pledges, memos of understanding, and letters or emails of intent. These commitments are used extensively in B2B, while actual sales can be measured using crowdfunding and Wizard of Oz tests. Crowdfunding is a form of pre-sales where different sizes of donations are sought in return for a range of rewards that include product and associated promotional items. In 2012, the Oculus Rift VR headset raised $2.5 million in just 30 days from almost 10,000 Kickstarter backers who pledged $300 plus each for a developer kit and a Doom video game. Astonishingly, just 2 years later, Oculus was bought by Facebook for $2 billion. A more advanced Wizard of Oz test has a user interacting with a site, getting search results, making queries, and even buying without knowing that the responses are being generated by a human and not a computer. A classic example of the Wizard of Oz test is Zappos, the online shoe retailer that Amazon acquired for $1.2 billion in 2009. Founder Nick Swinburne decided to test the assumption that people would be willing to buy shoes online without trying them on. At that time, this was not at all certain. So instead of following the more traditional path of building an inventory and then trying to sell it, Nick went to local stores, photographed shoes, and then advertised them online. If a pair of shoes was sold, he returned to the store, bought it, and sent it to the customer. The customer had no idea that Nick did not have a single pair of shoes or that all orders were being processed manually. What an incredible way to reduce risk and uncertainty and learn with minimal investment. Hats off to Nick. Finally, mock sales are a way to test credible interest before your product even exists. The goal is to make your customers believe that they are making a purchase. In an online context, you can use call to action buttons like Buy Now on your own site, or place your proposed product in an online store and just see what happens. In the physical world, you can use catalogs to introduce your idea, or even test your concept out by setting up a pop-up shop, a very popular experimentation technique in the food and beverage sector. So there are lots of options to test user sales and actions. Just select the one that suits what you want to test. Don't overthink it and learn on the fly. I will leave you with a quote from innovation guru Eric Ries. He said, "I would say, as an entrepreneur, everything you do, every action you take in product development, in marketing, every conversation you have, everything you do is an experiment. If you can conceptualize your work not as building features, not as launching campaigns, but as running experiments, you can get radically more done with a lot less effort."